Han Solo is one of the most iconic Star Wars characters. Did his new movie live up to his fame? Hi, I'm Chanel.
And I'm Ace.
And we're here doing a spoiler-free review of Solo. Back in October 2012, Disney had bought Lucasfilms for $4 billion.
Fans were so excited Star Wars movies would continue. However, Disney rewrote Star Wars lore and history, ignoring the books and canon, taking a dramatic shift from George Lucas's visions. Fans of these mythologies are dedicated to the stories. They voiced their concern, and Disney ignored them. As Disney's movies progressed, the gap widened with the fans. Disney became indignant of them, and they continued on with their vision of the franchise.
The backlash came to a head with Solo. With all the movies leading up to this film, fans were so upset they wanted to boycott, to show their displeasure of where the franchise was heading.
The boycott is real. Many people boycotted this movie. And it's true, the only way in which any company pays any attention to you is through their pockets. So if people do not support the movies, then they're going to have to come back to the table and say what's wrong, and we have to do things to make people happy. If not, no one's going to support us anymore.
Yeah, do you know that they estimated to make at least $150 million, but they actually made $101 million, which is the lowest grossing Star Wars film ever. And as a result, Disney's stock dropped.
That's absolutely insane. The reason why this issue is so confusing is because this is Disney. They wrote the book on customer service. At any of their establishments, they bend over backwards for their guests. They feel the customer's always right. So why is this so different when it comes to their movie? As a matter of fact, the film writer Jonathan Kasdan, in an interview with the magazine, said that the robot in the Solo movie was going to be fighting for robot rights. He also said that Lando Calrissian was going to be pansexual. What does this have to do with the movie? And as a matter of fact, when fans actually commented about that, he doubled down and basically told them off and said that people need to understand and need to be more diversity in the world. And basically, he actually bashed the fans for even questioning the fact of what he was doing in his movies. So these things are reasons why, when it came to coming to this movie, I really didn't want to see it because I already had very low expectations for this movie. J.K. Rowling, who's somebody I don't really care for J.K. Rowling too well. However, when J.K. Rowling does her stories and go back into the past, she actually does a very good job in it. One of the hardest stories to ever write is a story that goes back into the past. Because you already know the outcome. You already know what these characters are going to become. So the story has to be full of surprises. It shouldn't be something that you know exactly where this is going. And when that's done correctly, how Rollins actually does it, when you see things like Fantastic Beasts, you know nothing about the characters. You're watching characters, it's like the first time you ever seen them. Mm-hmm. That's not the way it was in Solo.
Yeah, in Solo, it was like, I don't know, I had neutral feelings of the movie. Like, I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was good either because there wasn't really anything like exciting that had me at the edge of my seat.
Solo was a movie without any spice in it. It was no exciting parts. It was just a bland movie. It's like they took a safe route. It's nothing really happened in that movie that really, it was no wow factor. One thing I can say is that it didn't offend me in the least bit. Mm-hmm. Which is actually a good thing. The things in which I had anticipated were going to happen in this movie did not happen. I was not offended. The issue with the robot was nothing. The issue with Lando Calrissian was nothing. So it makes you even wonder, why did he even say that? Just to piss off people.
Yeah, do you think it was just for publicity? Because good or bad publicity makes you money. So it could have been that.
That could be it too, but you would think that if you're going to get publicity, it should be more good publicity as opposed to bad publicity.
But with bad publicity, it's still publicity, so people want to watch things more.
Or maybe not.
Right. To see what actually happens.
Right, yeah. So what I'm saying as far as Solo goes is that it was nothing about Solo that was bad, but nothing about Solo that was actually good. It was just a movie. They threw it out there. Nothing offensive about this movie whatsoever.
It was kind of a filler.
It was a filler story. Personally, the way I feel about it, if it wasn't for the backlash and if it wasn't for all the things they had done wrong prior to this, Solo would actually have been or could be a very good movie. Mm-hmm. Or, well, an okay movie. It's not exciting, but it's not bad. You know, and all the things that I don't like about the other Star Wars movie did not happen in this one. So as I said, it's a very neutral movie. There's no highs, there's no lows. You're not even really that much invested in the characters. You know exactly what happens to Solo. You know exactly what happened to Millennium Falcon. You know what happens to Chewie. They threw in a couple of other people who you never seen before, obviously, but it was not anything in this movie that was bad. I was also pretty excited to see the Dragon Lady from Game of Thrones, Emily Clark, in the movie. That's exciting because I like her. So she adding her to the Star Wars canon is actually a good thing. But as I'm saying, as far as this movie goes, it's not exciting, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean there were some funny moments.
Right. It's a funny movie. It's a Star Wars movie, but the way Star Wars can continue on, if they want to continue on, if they want the fans to support them, you have to start making movies that are not offending people anymore, and you can actually do well. Because Disney has invested a ton of money into the Star Wars franchise. So if this franchises fail and fans stop going to their movies, what are they going to do with all the parks, Star Wars lands, and all the stuff they have going on for Star Wars? So as far as Solo goes, Solo's not a bad movie. It's just not an exciting one.
Yeah, so let us know your thoughts. If you've already seen it or if you're joining the boycott, let us know down in the comments.
And subscribe.
Yeah.
We're out.
Thanks for watching.